Hello, and welcome to another video. I get questions every day on what build I use to solo Diablo Clone and which character I believe to be the best. While there are still builds out there that can cheese Diablo Clone, I prefer speed over all else, considering just how many of these I do a day. And since Senpai said that he made the last changes to the fight for the rest of the season, I thought it'd be a good time to make a little guide for Season 1 Project Diablo 2 Diablo Clone. So this is the Blade Fury Assassin. Props to my pal BK Sauce. He was the first softcore assassin to kill Diablo Clone, and it was with the Blade Fury build. So my buddy and I go check out BK Sauce on Twitch, guys. He's amazing. We're always doing clones. You can catch us there, and it's just we have a good time. So BK was the first to do it, and then my buddy and I went to improve upon the build a little in terms of speed and how quickly the Blade Fury Assassin can take care of Diablo clones. So this is what we came up with, and we'll show you how it goes. So that is the laser. Here we go. Firestorm. Bone spirits coming in. Okay. So we used 2 rejuves, 2 health potions. I don't want to keep doing a bunch of takes, so that's a below average speed run. Usually takes around 10 seconds, I'd say 8 to 10. I'll ID this at the end of the video. So that was what I do when I run my Diablo clones. One aspect of this fight is this portal always opens, so I could go in there with an Annihilus already in my inventory, and then have a friend come in and pick it up. I choose not to, just so I save time. I just pick up the Annihilus in my inventory, and I can transfer to a mule while I run a bunch of these. So I'm just going to pop over to my stash, and as you can see, I do a lot of these. I guess I'll start by just covering a little bit about the fight. Diablo uses a number of different attacks here, and I'll go over the particularly dangerous ones. So there was the Firestorm attack that you saw that burns the ground. That deals physical and fire damage over time. I've got the Laser Hose that deals lightning damage and physical damage. And then there's the Bale style Nova that you saw, which hits for huge amounts of cold damage. Maybe you wouldn't expect to encounter cold damage in this fight, but it's there, and we have to prepare for it nonetheless. Otherwise, it is enough to one-shot most classes that are not prepared for it. There's also meteors that deal large amounts of fire and physical damage, and finally bone spirits, which as of the last change, Senpai changed to deal magic damage, so there's really no good gear options in the game currently to lessen the damage that's being done by those, so we try to avoid them by just not standing directly in the fire that they create, or you could just potion through them. So how do we summon Diablo Clone? There are 3 materials for summoning Diablo Clone. The Black Soulstone, this comes in your Uber Tristram, so when you get all your keys, you get collect organs, just like in Vanilla Diablo 2. You go into Uber Tristram, fight Mephisto, Bale, Diablo. Each one of them has a chance of dropping one of these. It's about 1 in 3 chance we've encountered. So you have a 1 in 3 chance of dropping one when you are in Uber Trist. The other material is this Primeval Soul. This drops from either Diablo or Bale in Hell, normal Diablo or Bale. So the odds of this dropping are about 1 in 100. So you have to do quite a few to get this ingredient, but luckily a lot of people do Bale and Diablo runs, so they're pretty easy to find. And then finally, the pure demonic essence. These are a little bit harder to find. They currently drop from map bosses. There's no way to increase the chance of drops for either of these two items. So the odds stand at around 1 in 100 again for this. They drop from map bosses. Any map bosses, tier 1 through 3, it's the same odds. No tier map increases your odds in. So once you get all 3, you throw them in your cube, and you make a Vision of Terror. So those are all these red balls you see. Each one summons a Diablo Clone event, and you can go in and get your Annihilus. So covered that. Now we'll go over the gear that I use. So we'll just start right up at the top. These are my stats. You'll note the Blade Fury damage. My life's around 2,000. I've got 95 fire resist, 87 cold, 81 light. And then here's some of this information on my character sheet. You'll see that my fire resistance is stacked 50 over the max, and that is for the bone spirits that we get hit by. Actually have 50 fire resistance pierce, so in order to not drop below our max fire resistance, we boost that one up. None of the other attacks seem to have any pierce, so our cold, light are just the max. With Fade, resistance are not really an issue in this build, so I don't really have any resistance, added resistance gear in my charms, which you'll see in a second. Some other things to note: damage reductions around 36%, the more the better here. There's a lot of physical, as I mentioned before, damage that you're taking in this fight. And we're aiming for the 86 faster hit recovery breakpoint. Every time we get hit by a meteor or something, it triggers our hit recovery animation. So the higher this is, the quicker we can get back to attacking, and the quicker the fight goes overall. Here you'll see I have 75 Crushing Blow, which is extremely important in this fight and any sort of uber fight where you're fighting a monster that has a really high life pool. Crushing Blow will impact a certain percentage and drop that life pool by a certain percentage of the remaining life pool, which when you're fighting something with a huge life pool is very significant. So the more Crushing Blow, the sooner you get him down, and then you want to deal high damage for that last hit when your Crushing Blow is no longer helping to finish off the rest of his life. Another attribute that's helpful with that is Deadly Strike. So that's just more damage right there, 22% Deadly Strike. And I'm just going to talk about the stats that are useful for Diablo Clone. So that's it there. Notice I'm not talking about attack speed. Once you're channeling your Blade Fury, your attack speed does not come into play. So normally in vanilla, attack speed doesn't come into play at all when we're using Blade Fury. Senpai made a change in Project Diablo 2 where it does affect your wind-up speed, but once you're channeling, the frames per second for your attacks are all the same, no matter how fast your attack speed is. You might start channeling faster, but once you're channeling, which most of the time is spent channeling, it's all the same. So your attack speed is not that important with this build when we're facing Diablo Clone. So I'm going to start at the top with what gear I'm using. G-Face, arguably one of the best melee helms when we're looking at boss fights. This is really helpful for Ubers and helpful for Diablo Clone. Some of the stats on it that are helpful are the Crushing Blow, specifically. That's why I use it. Another helm you can use here is a Giant Skull, similarly for the Crushing Blow and some of the other attributes that it has on it. Other things I like on this is the Deadly Strike, faster hit recovery, and it can corrupt for 3 sockets, which you see I have here, and 3 arms, which are for the max cold resistance, so I can survive those Bale waves. As I mentioned before, they can be very deadly if you don't have that. So my weapon, an Ethereal Stone Crusher. So this, in my testing, this was the weapon that performed best for me. Another caveat about Blade Fury is that it does not use durability. So you'll notice that this is F, but it does not have indestructible, it does not have repair, and it's fine that way if we're using it for Blade Fury. So you see I have really high ED on this. It's important. I want to get my damage as high as possible, so I take him down as quick as possible. The reason this weapon is so good is that it is in a very strong base. It's an elite base. It's Eth, so it gets even more damage, and the mods on it are great. So minus target defense is another mod that's on it. Minus target defense does work against bosses. Ignore target defense does not. So if you have that on a weapon and you're planning to use it for declone, you think it's going to help, it won't. But minus target defense does at a 50% effective rate. So this minus 25% target defense is minus 12.5% when we're fighting Diablo Clone. Very helpful. Minus enemy physical resistance. That's just more damage. That's all that needs. The higher the better there. Crushing blow. We talked about that before. Very important. Minus 100 to monster defense per hit. I'm going to go over why that's important when I get to my gloves, soul drainers, but that's just helping us hit more and more often and for more, and so the fight goes quicker that way. So if you don't have OMS, you don't need OMS in this. You could put lows. You could put, if you don't want to use the high runes, you could use pulls. They could be just as effective or more if it's just for the Diablo Clone fight. Or you could even put Eths in here and get more minus target defense. That'll help with the fight as well. Some alternative weapons are Death Rune Word in an Ethereal Elite base. So that's going to do a lot of damage. It's got a lot of crushing blow on it. Another one would be a Last Wish in an Elite F base. That's going to do a ton of damage as well. You have a Might Aura that's going to add to your damage, and the large amount of crushing blow that's on Last Wish is gonna help all with that fight. So those are some of the weapons I would recommend for the declone fight specifically. Armor, Chains of Honor. This has always been a favorite armor of mine for a physical damage or melee type of character. You've got 2 tall skills, damage to demons, which it rivals the damage that you would get from a fortitude, because the Diablo Clone fight is demon fight. You have all resistances, which help get your resist up, which is why resistances are not an issue with this build. Damage reduction, which is all helpful for this fight. Alternative armor here could be Guardian Angel to get your max resists up if you need them. Shield, Phoenix. I mean, what's there to say here? It's a huge damage boost. This build is built for speed. I found that with the new Diablo Clone, the best defense is a strong offense. You want to kill him as quickly as possible so that your field doesn't get flooded with bone spirits. And Phoenix has irreplaceable damage. In addition to that, it actually has some defensive mods. We get max fire resist so that we hit our 95, and we also get some lightning resistance, which could help if we ever get hit by the laser. You'll notice in the fight that I don't really get hit by the laser. I summon a Shadow Master for that. I'll go over that in a little bit, but just in case. A safety shield would be a Storm Shield. If you're doing this on hardcore, you might want to roll with one of those, but your damage will be lower. But it could be helpful protection-wise. So here's what an alternate shield could look like. 3-stock Storm Shield, put more runes in there so you get the max cold resists, and you can rock with that. Soul Drainers. So here, the main stat on this that we're looking at is the minus 200 to monster defense per hit. As the fight goes on, we are lowering Diablo Clone's defense so that we are hitting him more, so that by the time we get to the end and Crushing Blow is no longer helping us, we can hit him hard with our big damage and kill him and the final blow. So I've found that my runs go much quicker when I'm using the Soul Drainers, and then the extra 100 that you get from Stone Crusher makes for a great combo. Belt, Verdungos, since I'm not using Storm Shield, the extra damage reduction helps here, as well as the life. So, as important as all of these resistances are, damage reduction is, life is of vital importance in this fight, since we're not really building to to nerf the damage of the bone spirits. The best way that we can do that, and really think of life as just a resistance against every type of damage in the game. The more we boost our life, the more bone spirits we can take, the more of everything we can take. So for Dungos, you get a ton of life, you get the damage reduction. Alternative here, if you're using a Storm Shield, could be something like T-Gods or Snow Clash for the extra resistances. And then Hotspurs. So the damage we take the most in this fight is fire damage. We need to make sure we're at 95. The Hotspurs do that for us. Rings, Ravenfrost. Really important here is the Cold Absorb. Like I said, the Bale Wave is deadly. We use 2 Ravenfrosts in this build so that we can pretty much just take that and not have to worry about it. It is an annoying attack to avoid. You would have to stand behind the pillars to avoid it, so rather than do that, we just take it head on, we prepare for it, and keep attacking. In addition to that, huge dexterity, huge attack rating to make sure we're hitting D-Clone a lot. And on that similar note, I use Metal Grids as my amulet for the attack rating and the attack rating alone. I just note that my runs go faster when I'm using it compared to something like High Lords, another viable amulet. I just don't find that it goes as quickly with the High Lords as the Metal Grid, but this is all personal preference. You can use one if you want to get that deadly strike and some skills, but I choose the Metal Grid. For my charms, I am using Shadow Skill Grand Charms with either life or faster hit recovery to hit that 86 breakpoint. The reason I use these are actually there's multiple reasons why I like to use the Shadow Grand Charms. So I'm just going to show you for a second my attack rating and my damage. So I'll go through my skills in a little bit, but one of the skills in this game is Claw Mastery, and for this season at least, it's bugged, and the Claw Mastery skill affects your damage and attack rating no matter what weapon you use. So, in addition to all of the normal benefits of a Shadow Grand Charm, like an increase to Fade, which gives us half a damage reduction and resistances, as well as it's going to boost my Shadow Master that I use in the fight. It's also bumping up our Claw Mastery, which, as you'll see, give us additional damage and attack rating for each Shadow Grand Charm. So, alternatively, you could use max damage, attack rating, life charms here, but I find that for an all-around charm, this is not only giving you the damage and attack rating, but giving you some damage reduction, boosting your Shadow Master as well. I just think it's the best overall charm option as the game is currently. So that's why I use these. Not many people are. A lot of people are surprised when I tell them that, but I just find it works best. Obviously, an Assassin Torch, and then for my small charms, I just use a mixture of max attack rating and life, where I need it. So those are my charms. I'll go over the skills last. So obviously our main damage dealer is the Blade Fury. You'll note that I do not have any skill points into the synergies. They don't really help much. The damage that they add is only on the damage that you see in that skill, 59 to 76 damage, and it's not based, it doesn't scale with your weapons. So really the synergies are not worth investing skill points into. I rather invest them into protection skills and damage skills, as you'll see in the shadow tab. So these are where the rest of my skills go, and why I use the Shadow Grand Charms to boost them even further. Claw Mastery, this is maxed out. Like I said, depending on what season you're watching this, it may not still be in effect, but Claw Mastery affects the damage, attack rating, gives you critical strike on any weapon no matter what you're using. It doesn't have to be a claw or a dagger. In addition to that, we max Fade. Every point in the Fade is half a damage reduction and a ton of resistances, so that's we cast that before we go into Diablo Clone to help protect us. And then Shadow Master is also maxed because if you notice in that fight, the Shadow Master is taking a lot of hits, and the more your Shadow Master stays alive, the more hits that it is going to absorb and not you. So you want your Shadow Master to always be cast and always be up and running so that it takes some of those hits for you, and you can just stand still and channel your Blade Fury and do as much damage as possible while it attracts those type of attacks. Extra skills you can throw in whatever you want. Venom, the synergies, or Cloak of Shadows. I don't really use it because the fight just doesn't take very long and it only lasts 5 seconds, so it's not worth casting to me, but if that's your preference, you can go ahead and do it if you like. So here's an idea of what my attack rating is. You're not going to see attack rating when you have Blade Fury on, so just to get an idea of what mine is, that's where my attack rating is right now. You saw when I was landing hits and how often. And then my Blade Fury damage you could compare with your own. There it is. Like I said, in the fight, we have our Shadow Master ready. We go in, it absorbs some of the damage. We stand here, channel our blades, and Diablo Clone melts. So it's really a pretty safe fight with this build. It goes quickly and it's extremely effective. So I hope this helps you get some Annihilus and get some awesome charms. So if you have any questions, let me know. And last but not least, we're gonna ID it. Let's see how we did. Alright. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Talk to you later. Bye.